if you can hear us both.
Yes. And see us? Okay.
Looks like it.
Awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us on a Tuesday at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Colombia.
Taco Tuesday.
Yes.
Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. It's 7:05. Like we said, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. We're so excited to be here, and happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Carolina just passed boards not too long ago, so congratulations.
Yeah, it's been like 2 weeks, and I'm still kind of processing. I actually just retyped my resume, and I put like CRNA after my name, and I was like, oh my God.
Super exciting.
But very excited. Yes.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. And you know, CRNA school is tough, but it's not impossible, and you did it.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
I also wanted to say in Spanish, just really quick, bienvenidos a todos, feliz mes de la herencia hispana. Estamos súper emocionados de tenerlos acá, que nos acompañen este martes. Muy rico estar acá con todos ustedes. I'm actually live from Colombia, Cali, Colombia. If there's any Colombians, send a little Colombian flag, but we're here to represent everyone in Latino and Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're very excited to have you guys join us today.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. So let's get started. So we'll just tell you a little bit about ourselves. So we're both from Colombia. We're both very passionate about our Latino community. So Carolina, when did you move to the U.S.? How did it all start?
So it all started, I was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia. I lived there up until I was 15 years old. And then I moved to Texas. And in Texas, I finished high school. And then I went straight into nursing school, also in Texas. And after I graduated from nursing school, I actually I had a student visa at the time, and I couldn't find any hospitals that would sponsor a green card or a residency card or any work visas. So that kind of forced me to leave Texas, and then I did find sponsorship in Florida, and that's where I started my first nursing job. I was in Florida for about 2.5 years. And I always knew I wanted to go into anesthesia CRNA school, and I got into the ICU. I got the experience that I needed. I ended up moving from Florida to New York. I've been in New York for like almost 7 years now. And
okay.
Yeah, and then that's where I went to CRNA school, and now finally done. I just finished about 2 weeks ago. I officially passed boards, like Kathy said, a little while ago. So
Very, very nice. Oh my gosh. Did you think it was hard to get into school, into CRNA school? Did you have trouble?
yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I didn't apply until I felt ready. So I had 5 years of ICU experience before I applied.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that also was very hard for me, I don't know if you have this experience, Kathy, but I never met a Latino Hispanic CRNA ever, not in Texas, not in Florida, not in New York. I think that there would be a lot of, but I never did. So to me, I think it delayed my application process a little bit, because I didn't know if it was a space where I was welcomed. It wasn't a space where I saw the representation to be like, hey, I do belong. And I think that kind of delayed, I wanted to do 1 or 2 years of ICU and then apply, but then it ended up being like 5 years until I finally got like the guts to apply and do the whole thing. But how was it for you? How was your application process?
Yeah, so for me, about the same. I mean, I'm from Bogota, like you as well, and I grew up most of my life in the U.S. Lived in Bogota for about 7 years of my life, and then grew up in Maryland area. I initially wanted to do medical school, but then, I didn't have my papers. Some Latinos have some issues with that, and I decided while I was waiting to do some nursing courses, and then I said, well, nursing has so many options, and I'm just going to go do that, and started as unit secretary in the emergency department, then moved up to being a nursing assistant. Then I went to nursing school, and then I went straight into the ICU. I was an ICU nurse for 8 years. So after that, I finally got accepted into anesthesia school after 3 years of trying over and over. It was difficult for me as well. But I never gave up, and that's what's important. Just keep going. But yeah, I went to the diversity conference, which is how Carolina and I met, and they gave me a lot of guidance on application and interview tips and all of that. But I felt the same way that you did. I felt like an outsider, like I didn't believe in myself that much, and then, finally, we're here. So
Yeah, I want to
definitely a
give a
journey, but
little,
we're here to help everyone through it.
yeah. And I think it's important to give a little shout out to Dr. Lena Gold.
Yeah.
If any of you guys aren't familiar with Diversity CRNA, it's open to ICU nurses, any type of nurse, or even if you've already applied or you're thinking about applying to CRNA school, it's a great platform to really connect all the minorities within our profession, because there's not that many of us, and I think it's very important for us to create a space where we represented. So shout out to Dr. Gold. She's been amazing, and she connected us. So I think she does a wonderful job. So Diversity CRNA.
Absolutely. I'm posting the website here, diversitycrna.org. It's a great mentoring program. But yeah, so Carolina, why are we doing this live? Why are we doing this live for Hispanic Heritage Month?
So I think we both talked about it a little bit when it comes to like the Latin American population in the US, right? There's like 330 million people in the US, and about I think 62 million are of Hispanic heritage, and that has only been growing over the years, and it's going to continue to grow. There's a huge immigrant population. Like I mentioned, I am not even a first generation. We're both immigrants, and I think to be able to cater to that population and make them feel heard and safe and understood in a way, I feel like, healthcare in Central South America, it's very different from the US, and there's a lot that goes into that. So I think it's very important to not only for us to see ourselves represented in the profession, but for our patients to be like, wow, there's someone that understands.
And I'm sure through your training as well, I just witnessed the necessity of. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yay. Hi, Sergio. So yeah, I pretty much experienced the same thing through my whole training. I mean, I've been in healthcare since 2009, so it's been a while, and through my journey, I experienced the necessity of Hispanic professionals everywhere. I was the only Latina everywhere I went, and interpreted for everyone, and kind of witnessed how some Latino patients were not able to communicate, and the phone lines were not, the interpreter lines were not always available. So that creates a lot of health disparities in our health care system. And so why not we as Latina leaders empower other Latinos to join us in the profession and make a difference, and make a a good experience for our patients, in other words, a better
Exactly.
experience.
Absolutely. Um, what was your experience like every time you translated for patients? How did that, like when you were a nurse, before even being a nurse, or even in school, were you always like targeted, like, hey, you're the one Hispanic person in the building, like please come and do this? How was that for you?
Yes, absolutely. Everywhere I went as a student, as a nurse, I was interpreting for the patients, and they were so happy to have me there because I understood what they were trying to tell me, all their concerns, their pain. Because a lot of times the Latin culture, your grandmas are like, oh, I'm okay, it's fine, but they're really not fine, and they don't want to speak up. But when they see you, they will tell you what's really going on, and that's kind of important for us to be advocates for our community.
So what would you say is like your biggest motivation towards empowering others into the anesthesia profession?
Well, I just think that we should be mentoring each other, supporting each other in the Latino community. Um, I think that if we support each other, we can make a difference in the U.S. healthcare system and address all these disparities. A lot of times I feel like we're not as close as we should be in the Hispanic community. I'm sure you've experienced that too. Like if you see another Colombian, they're kind of like, oh, I don't feel like we're united enough, and I want to come together and make a difference. I also never had a Hispanic mentor, and I wish I could have. So why not step up and help out others? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, and
Yeah.
I've always been like passionate about helping others in different ways. Like I used to deliver toys in third world countries, and I just feel complete when I give back to the world in some way, not just show up to your job 9 to 5, go home and watch Netflix. No, that doesn't make me feel complete. I like need to help somebody, need to go do something, or so that's why. What about you?
I think now that I'm transitioning, I feel like, and you just got out of school too, so I'm sure you remember just you're so tunnel vision in what you have in front of you while you're in school, that I think now that I'm transitioning out of that role and into a full CRNA position, I same as you. I never truly had a mentor. I didn't find out about diversity CRNA and Dr. Gold, and I didn't connect until my second semester of CRNA school. So I feel like I wish I had had more of that help and more guidance and more support, and someone to be like, hey, like you got this, you can do this. I think it was a lot of kind of me down in the trenches trying to figure out where to apply, how to apply, what do I need, am I a good enough applicant? So I think giving back, I
Hmm.
feel exactly the same, and I think that's one of the reasons why I started my anesthesia page and Instagram, was because I do want to see more people represented, and I do want to connect with other people as much as I can and help as many as I can along the way, because it's just, you have to give back. You see that when you go to um, state level conferences, national conferences, you see that it is so much more than just the OR and just the hospital. And if we don't support each other, then who will?
Yeah.
So I am right there with you.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there are so many things that we can do. I feel like having a mentor is very, very important. I've always had a mentor, like not necessarily somebody that's been through this through what I want to what I want to accomplish. Like if I want to be a doctor, then find somebody that's been through it, or if I want to get into finance or any other career path as a Hispanic or as anyone, it's important to have a mentor. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, and I've also had heroes, like Wonder Woman is my hero. You think you only have heroes when you're little, but no, I just always kind of envisioned myself as, okay, women are powerful, they can do it. And and have somebody to tell you, hey, you got this. You need to believe in yourself, and I believe in you, so you need to believe in you. And sometimes we just need to hear that, because a lot of times we don't believe in ourselves, and that's a big mistake.
Yeah. And I think for us too, I mean, you're not only a minority in a profession where, it's hard to find each other, but then you're also a female, like you said, and a female in the OR, and finding that voice in the OR and speaking up and being confident. It takes time, it takes practice, and it's something that for you transitioning out of school into CRNA role, have you found that like that's been hard for you, or what has been the hardest part about transitioning from CRNA school into the full CRNA role?
I think it comes back to believing in yourself, trusting the training that you went through, and having confidence that you can handle any situation as you were trained. Of course, for me, the first day as a CRNA was nerve-wracking. Wheeling my first patient into the OR as a new CRNA I was very nervous, but at the same time, I had to remain calm and trust my training, trust my gut, trust myself, and know that if I need help, I can ask for help. Like, I got this kind of a mentality. And sometimes we just have to do the hard things, and that's how we challenge ourselves, and that's how we grow. And I keep challenging myself still every day, whether working out or doing something hard is always a good thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably be reaching out and texting you a lot as I start and I go into my first day, my first week, my first month. I want to be like, oh my God, Kathy, how do you do that? I'm like, I'm nervous. I
Yeah.
like in all honesty, like you have a lot of training, a lot, you pass boards, everyone says that's the smartest you'll ever be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's different when you have a second set of eyes, a second set of hands, and just kind of someone to reassure you. So just kind of, creating that little voice in your head to reassure yourself. I think it's definitely gonna be something that I have to, switch the mindset and learn.
Yes, absolutely. No, you will do great, and always here if you need me and anyone. Same with you, Carolina. Like, you've inspired so many people with your smile and your positive attitude. How are you always so positive and happy, even though you're going through torture?
I think you have to stay honest. Not every day is a good day, and not every day you're gonna get the A on the exam, or you're gonna nail the intubation or nail the A line. I think you just have to just stay very humble and enjoy the little things. So I think one of the biggest things that helped me, and ever since COVID, has been really paying attention to the mental health aspect. I think, you and I, like, we like working out, and just as you work out and you strengthen your muscles, you also have to strengthen your mind and your brain, because it is, learning school is brutal. And I feel like it's very easy to just spiral down a negative path. And I think for me, just getting, doing therapy and doing sessions every week and kind of talking through things and really relying on my support system was very big, but also finding joy and happiness in the little things. It's like, okay, maybe I didn't get the intubation, but I was able to hold this little grandma's hand and comfort her. So just going back to basics and really, really enjoying and living in the moment and trying to be present,
Mhm.
and just taking every little win and just going with it and celebrating yourself.
Yes, absolutely, you're right. You're not going to always, get all the intubations, ace all the exams, but you have to keep pushing through. And, failure is, if you don't try again, if you don't get up again and try it again, then you're not going to get to success. So sometimes we just have to stay humble, like you said, and yeah, very good. And positive, which is hard sometimes. Sometimes you have breakdowns.
It's hard.
Yeah, but it's also good to have, like a good classmate that you can study with, support each other. Like I had a very close classmates that were going to be friends for life because we went through the battle together. We kept each other accountable. We studied together. We dried each other's tears. We laughed together. So it's important to find that person as well.
Yeah, because no one really knows and understands what you're going through. The people in your class know the ins and outs. Your family, your friends, they know you're busy. They know you're giving it
Hmm.
your all, but at the end of the day, they don't understand the pressure and
Yes.
the stress that goes with it. Your classmates are really a huge support system. So creating and nurturing those relationships are super important.
Yes, absolutely. So you're enjoying life after anesthesia school?
Yes, yes. Oh my God, I want to tell everyone there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Sí se puede, literal, sí se puede, and it's so worth it. I think it's very hard, and we all know it's so hard. But now I'm taking a few months to myself, to travel, see friends, see family. Kind of like I mentioned before, I'm in Colombia right now, and all of my family, pretty much everyone is here. So getting to see everyone, that's really what like fills my cup
Yes.
and kind of grounds me and recharges me. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time off, but later this fall I'm gonna start work, staying in New York. But I'm excited. But for now, I'm just like I said, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I don't know if it's Sunday, I don't know if it's Friday, I don't know what day of the week it is, and that's what I want to be, and that's where I need to be right now. Because it's hard. You end up exhausted,
Yeah.
but it's worth it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you tell me, how long have you been a CRNA now?
It's going to be a year this month already.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah,
Any
it flies
any
by.
regrets? Anything you would change?
No, no regrets at all. I think it challenged me mentally, professionally, and it was good for me to go through it in all areas of my life. It has improved my, my mental ability, physical, everything. Um, and, and especially when you get your first paycheck. When I got my first paycheck, oh my God, I started crying because I was like, oh my God, I've been broke for so many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the best feeling, and it's I can't really explain it, but every day it got better. I was less nervous, and every now and then I still get a little nervous if there's a really sick patient, but you know, you get a hang of it.
Yeah.
So,
How between work and personal life, how do you find time to mentor others? Like how have you balanced, still staying connected with the anesthesia community while also trying to regain your life and your new routine?
yeah, I think if you're passionate enough about something, you will find the time. I mean, right now I work full time, but some days I work two 14-hour shifts and one 12-hour shifts, and I'm off 4 days a week. And other weeks I work two 12-hour shifts and two 8-hour shifts. And that's the beauty of the CRNA profession. You can find pretty much any schedule that works with you, with your lifestyle. For me, I like to have all my days extra days off, so I just get all the hours over with. But yeah, I'm just passionate about it, and I'm not in school anymore, so I want to challenge myself with something else and help somebody out there and make a difference somehow, not just at the hospital. And I think connections and networking, continuing your career development is really important, and connections are really important, like how me and you connected.
And I'm sure someone is gonna ask, so I'm gonna ask for them. But are you taking any other mentees right now? Are you are you
Yeah,
open?
yeah. I mean, I've been mentoring people for a while. Honestly, I take as much as I can. Like they inbox me, and we schedule a call. I don't know how many I have right now. I don't know. I would say probably 20, but um, I find the time to respond and help someone, when I can. So right now there's no limit. So when I get overwhelmed, if I don't respond, that's because I'm overwhelmed.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
amazing.
everybody is welcome. Um, does anybody have any questions or
I
any
think
questions?
one of the last things that I also wanted to say is, I think when it comes to going back to like Latinos and our patients and our Hispanic patients, um, I cannot stress this enough. I'm sure you've seen this in the hospital, but please use the interpreter phone.
Oh,
Please, 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 please. I think that's like one of, people ask me like, oh, I don't know Spanish. Like, how can I help? How can I learn? I think one of the biggest things that's very important to learn. I think now that I'm getting out of school, I'm going to start doing my Anestesia en Español every week.
mhm.
I'm really going to start like posting videos on like how to do like pronunciation, because a lot of people didn't know how to actually say some things, and phonetically it's different to read. But I think in the meantime, everyone needs to use the interpreter phone, the interpreter video. It's so important to, even if you do know some Spanish, sometimes with broken Spanish, you just want to make sure that what we do is so critical,
Yeah.
and it's such a vulnerable time in patients' lives that you need to get that consent, and everything has to be just to cover your bases, also legally. And also, that's also a little nice touch to it. But just for you and for the patient, you want to make sure that they get the whole story. So everyone, please use your interpreter phones.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen many things happen. Let's see. So, Dianita, can we create a group we can help each other? Ladies, my first semester of CRNA school, I need a mentor. Okay, so you can send like for me, for example, you can send me a private message just so I get to know you a little better, like where you're at. Then we can work from there. I think a group can get a little bit um, overwhelming, but we can start there if you wanna send me a DM. Uh, good DMP project topic. What about you, Carol? Are you open for mentoring? I
Yeah.
know you're on vacation, but
Yeah, so I think I have been telling people that I'm definitely open to mentoring. That's one of the biggest reasons why we're here, just to let people know that we're open, we're available. I think for myself, I'm probably going to wait until I'm back in the US, because right now I'm traveling. Sometimes I have signal, sometimes I don't, and I'm going to be traveling for the next month, a little bit over a month. So I'll let everyone know when I'm back in the US and when I'm open. But same thing, just message me. Even if you do it now, I'll save it for later. I'll put a little tag, a little flag on it, and then I'll come back to it in a few weeks. But yeah, just personal, DM, and I'll get back to as many people as I can. Absolutely.
all right, there we go. Oh yeah. Anesthesia, God, God, anesthesia, God. A good DMP project topic. Any that can come out of your ideas, girl?
I know a lot of people are doing the Ozempic. Everyone's like on Ozempic now, and the considerations that that has towards NPO status. I know that's a very hot topic. I did one of my residencies in an outpatient plastic surgery center, and most of the patients were on Ozempic, and they had found that 2 weeks of stopping Ozempic and 48 hours of NPO wasn't enough. So they were actually extending even further out to 4 weeks of, completely discontinuing Ozempic, um, or any other drugs within that same category, but just Ozempic is the first one that comes to mind. But maybe even having someone completely NPO for over 48 hours. I mean, I had patients that were NPO for 48 hours, and they would come in and they would still feel full.
Right.
They had like no urge to eat, no urge to do anything. So maybe also doing that's one aspect, and then also maybe doing like POCUS right before doing your whole induction and intubation sequence. I think that would be a great one. What do you think about DP projects?
Personally, I was going. Oh, Peaberry says she's gonna do Ozempic for her DMP next year. Awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Send me your research, because I mean we're all kind of learning as we go on this too. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what comes out from all of this.
I was going to do, and don't quote me on this, but I was going to do mine related to lung volumes, how like how it's 6 to 8 mLs per kilo, and you really don't need that much because it causes all these issues. Anyways, I just had that in mind, but I don't have the details on it. But let me think about it.
What was your topic, Kathy?
Mine was Precedex for emergence delirium in the pediatric population.
Okay.
So using Precedex towards the end of the case to prevent emergence delirium in pediatrics. A lot of people have a misconception that it's going to lower your blood pressure and your heart rate and delay emergence, but really you need to give like a microdose. In other words, to avoid all those complications, and then they wake up pretty smoothly after that.
I'm a big fan of Precedex. When it's appropriate, it works like a charm.
Yeah.
I think I have another question here. Someone said if they're asking about getting a medical interpreter certificate, and if you did you ask for more pay because you knew how to speak Spanish? So I actually did. When I was in Florida, I got a whole number, like the interpreter number that you use. I did become a medical interpreter myself. I took like an exam where you have this conversation and it's this whole back and forth. I did not get paid more for it while in Florida. I'm trying to remember. I think I did in New York, but it just kind of depends where you are. To me, I just did it to have something legal and like something formal to write down on, on legal documents like consents, but I never really, I don't know, to me it wasn't really about the money. I think some places do offer it right off the bat. It's something that you can absolutely ask about because it does take more time. But
yeah, I think it depends on the hospital and the state. Yeah. But that's one of the things I'm trying to advocate for, is getting all our Hispanic professionals to be able to interpret legally. That's kind of a big project, but I wish I can do something about it in the future.
Yeah, I think I can also look back, because I did this back in 2015, 2016, but I can look back and see the company that I did it through. I'm sure there's many out there, but it's not that hard, it's not expensive, and it's just, you cover yourself, you cover the patient, and even though if you do know Spanish, it's just you never know legally the impact that can have. So I love that idea. I think if we could all get certified, I'm pretty sure I'm due for my recertification at this point.
Yeah.
So
It'd be awesome.
very important.
Any other questions you guys have? I was going to ask this question for you, Carol. What kind of advice do you have or recommend for nursing students right now that want to get into the profession, or SRNAs, or anybody that wants to get into the medical field? Do you have any special tricks and tips or resources or things you wish you knew?
I think social media has really changed the game with everything. So, I mean, like you said before, if you want to be a doctor, then go and shadow a doctor. If you want to be a PA, a nurse, a CRNA, I think the shadowing portion is so important because you get to see a day in the life right? You get to see the ins and outs, and it's like, do you see yourself in that position and doing that work?
Right.
I don't know. I'm sure different hospitals, I would be more than open to having people shadow. I don't know what that looks like where I'm going to work. But I know a lot of people do allow shadowing, and you can always contact the head of the anesthesia department and just email them. But I think just finding, shadowing and finding someone that is where you want to be in 5 years, right? So if you're just now in nursing school and you want to be a CRNA, that takes some time, but just find a mentor that is a CRNA and can help you, support you, guide you through that process. I think those two things are super important.
Yes, absolutely.
Any advice that you have for people wanting to get into the healthcare profession, or any Latinos that are considering getting into the healthcare field?
I mean, I would say the main thing is mindset. If you want to do something, go out and do it. You can do it. Believe in yourself first. Don't listen to, all the negatives. There is a lot of noise out there in the world that is negative, but that doesn't define what you can or cannot do. So whatever you choose to do, just go out and do it. I believe in you. And Carolina and I believe in you.
Yeah. Text us messages. We'll be your personal cheerleaders.
Yes. Because a lot of times, you are your worst enemy sometimes. You're like, no, I'm scared. And what if this? What if that? What are people going to say? Sometimes you just have to go out and do it. Don't worry about anyone else.
Any other questions that anyone else might have?
Did you guys work for a CRNA school? For me, absolutely not. I was not allowed to work.
If we worked during CRNA school?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, absolutely not. Some people do. I think it's time management. Some people can make it work. I knew for myself, my priority was school, and I can't just read a book and, be able to take a test and be fine. I really have to spend time with the material, make cards, make charts. It's time consuming. So it really depends on your study habits, on, your time management. But I think maybe if you're doing a front-loaded program, maybe some people definitely do work during the didactic portion. But once you start clinicals, I don't see a feasible way to keep up with that. You're taking classes, you're doing, 40, 60-hour weeks in clinicals, you're studying, you're working on projects.
There's just not time, and it's not worth it. Cliff Cliff note, anesthesia says that's called imposter syndrome. Absolutely right. Imposter syndrome is like when you have self-doubt, or when you have failure, when you have fear of failure, you know, those are all just things in our minds.
Yeah. It's, yeah, you just have
Comparing
to,
yourself to others, like that's another big thing. Like you can't compare yourself to others. Everybody's living their lives in a different at their own pace. You just have to focus on yourself and believe in yourself and have a set goal and go get it.
yeah. I,
Um,
let me see what else. Did you deal with any discrimination when in clinicals? Ooh, that's a good question. I did not. I have met people that have. I didn't have any issues with discrimination or racism. I was never told like. I think the most that I ever got was like, "Ooh, like how long have you been doing this for?" But I think that's more of, you look too young to be doing this. So you really want to put me to sleep.
mhm.
Um, but I think like when it came to me being Latina, Hispanic, no, I mean, if anything, I think it helped me. I think it
Yeah.
was a great advantage, and people sought me out, and a lot of my preceptors, either anesthesiologists or nurse anesthesiologists, people would kind of try and like steal me from different rooms because they knew that they needed someone to speak Spanish. So I think it was quite the opposite. At least in the New York area, I had a very good experience, and everyone was very welcoming, and everyone kind of needed your help more than anything else. So thankfully I didn't. Did you got any
Um,
discrimination in clinic?
no, no, I mean, not for like race or ethnicity, but I would say like some patients would be like, oh, or can I get the anesthesiologist to do my case instead? And so a lot of patients don't really know the difference between us and the anesthesiologist, so a lot of times they get confused about that and picky about that, but you just educate them about it. Also, like, certain religions don't allow men to do, the epidurals on women, and they prefer a woman to do it, kind of thing. But yeah, for as far as Hispanics, like we're needed everywhere we go because my OB rotation, all the patients were Hispanic, and they're like having a lot of kids, and they don't speak a word of English, and so I was the only student that was interpreting for all of them. So we are needed. Te necesitamos.
Yeah. Please, please, please join, help us. And I think, the more of us that are out there and the more we kind of tag along and really support each other, the better. So,
What is the clinical schedule like in CRNA school? I think it varies in every school, but for example, for mine, the first year we did 3 days a week of clinical, and then the second year we did 4 days a week of clinical. What about you, Carol?
so we were the last master's class for my school. So we were a front-loaded program. So I think someone asked, is front-loaded or integrated better? It really depends on how you want to learn. Some people really like integrated because you get even more experience in the OR. I was in a front-loaded program, but like I said, the first year was didactic, and then the last year and a half, since it was only a year and a half for the masters, we started right off the bat with 410s. Eventually, you could do 312s, but it really wasn't even 410s. You're really there for a lot longer. You're waking up earlier, you're setting up the room, you're the first one there, and sometimes you're the last one out. And I
Mhm.
think also you have to take every opportunity to be like, hey, I want to learn, I'm going to stay a little bit longer, or I want to finish this case. I think, kind of jotting out at 5 p.m. and being like, okay, I'm done, that's my 10 hours and I'm clocking out. Sometimes it might not look too well, but I think you just have to take every learning opportunity. But yeah, like I said, for me it was either 410s or 312s, just depending where you were.
Do you have any tips to help nurses stand out more as a successful applicant?
I think you really have to be yourself. I think when you try and become something that you're not, it comes through. I don't know how to explain it, but it just,
Oh yeah.
if it's not authentic, people don't want that. People want to see the real you. Everyone has their own unique experience, their own unique background. When it comes either to heritage background or just clinical experience or just life experience, everyone is so unique in their own way, that I think you just have to, like for myself, coming here as an immigrant and then having a student visa and having to fight so hard to get a green card and become a resident, that's something that I felt was very unique to me, and kind of going through those hardships and those barriers made me very resilient, and that's what I showcased when I was applying, because I don't know, I hadn't met anyone that had a similar experience, and I felt very alone in that process. So that's kind of what had me stand out. I think everyone at the end of the day has their ICU experience, their CCRN, they're all the basics. If you are just checking off the basics from the requirements from the schools, that's not enough. You really have to, put yourself out there and do a little bit more, but at the same time stay very authentic to what you love and what brings you happiness, and not trying to become something else.
Yes, absolutely. I would say also just strive to be a leader in your profession, and just do things outside of just going to work 9 to 5, maybe volunteer, go on some mission trips, be a charge nurse, mentor some students, or orient new grads, things like that. That makes you stand out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Hola, love you guys. Love you too. All right.
Oh, someone posted, as the first DNP class at Columbia, there's still a front-loaded program, but the first, just like you said, Gati, the first semester, like their first block of clinicals, they're doing 310s, and then they're going to 410s in the spring.
Yeah. Every school is different, front-loaded or not. I think they're both good. They're both very different, but they train you. They know what they're doing, so just trust the process and go on with it.
Yeah.
All right. Who else has any questions? Please share student journey from Columbia to CRNA. Okay, we already kind of did that, but yeah, so we're both from Bogota and did our, high school, and then went to nursing school. I had 8 years of ICU experience. I think Carol had what, 3?
I had 5.
Five.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
A lot of people also ask me, what type of ICU. I don't know what was your background in ICU. Which ICU were you in, Gati?
I was always adult. I think adult ICU is the best experience. Some schools accept pediatric, but they're very few. So I did 2 years of CVICU. I did 2 years of neuro ICU, and then I did traveling. I did medical ICU, trauma ICU, and basically all the
Everything.
ICUs out there. Yeah.
I different ICUs because you get to see a little bit of everything. I did 2 years of PD ICU and then 3 years of big youth trauma ICU, and I thought it was a great experience just because, you know, at least in trauma and PICU, it's very different from just heart. And neuro, it's a completely different ballgame. And burn ICU, pediatrics, I mean, they all have like such unique, they're very unique specialties. So definitely the more you see, obviously the more it helps in the long run.
Yeah.
Here's
absolutely.
Here's a good question, Kathy. How did you prevent nurse burnout while working at bedside?
Well, obviously you do get burned out a lot, but I would say just having a positive attitude. I know some days are not great, but if you wake up with a positive attitude and you wake up grateful for, you know, having a job and opportunities, your day goes a little better, at least for me. Also, just trying to step in as a leader, you know, when you're busy, help others, and others will help you in turn. So just kind of create a community where you help each other and support each other, and that's kind of like lead by example, in other words.
Yeah.
What about you,
Carolina? I think really, yeah, supporting each other, that's huge. But then also kind of trying to leave work at work. Like when you come home, try and find hobbies and things that fill you and things that help you recharge. If you need to kind of let off the steam and kind of, you know, get some endorphins. I mean, to me, exercise has been, I mean, huge. I don't know if I would have made it through CRNA school if it hadn't been for exercise and working out. So I think also finding things that fill your cup outside of your work and finding that balance and really relying on your support system and your friends. I think that's very important too.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear from a lot of nurses and just a lot of healthcare workers in general that, you know, the burnout is mainly because you know, they're short staffed and not enough support, which is kind of a, you know, a big deal nationwide. So we need more healthcare workers in general.
Yeah. But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun and you love it. You have to be passionate about it. You
And
can't, you know.
you will always have a job because everybody's going to get sick at some point. So you're always going to have a job in healthcare.
Yeah.
Any last minute questions? Then we'll maybe play a little Latin music and have some fun. Let's see, what kind of song should we play, guys? What's your favorite Latin song?
Have to do. Have you been doing ballroom dancing?
I used to do girls since I was like 4 years old. I've been a dancer. I just, you know, I used to be in all the high school dance team, and every dance team you know, I growing up, I was there. And I used to perform and all of that, but then I went into school and became a grown-up girl, and now I still like to dance. I love it, so thought I would show a little side talent.
Yeah.
I know you.
I wanted to also there's a lot of questions that maybe we didn't get to. We'll post this video and we'll answer in the comments, or we'll message you directly. There's some that are a little too detailed, and we want to try and kind of keep everything a little bit more broad. So we'll get to those a little bit later, but we won't forget about your question.
I'm gonna play the song requested by
Pepa or salsa. Salsa for.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, guys. All right, Carol. Pretty sure you can save the live when you end the video it gives you an option to save it. So we can share it with you guys
Everyone says
later.
salsa, salsa.
Salsa? Okay, which one?
We'll finish with salsa. We can. Well, I'm in Cali, so you can do Oiga mi bebea or Las Caleñas son como las flores, or oh my God, there's so many.
All right, let's see. Okay, here we go.
But thank you everyone for joining. Again, if you have any other questions, message us, or we'll get back to everyone on the comments. But
Yes. All right, bye guys. Bye, Carol.